It appears the world has a new pope, a new leader of Catholics worldwide, more than 1.3 billion of them. We have white smoke coming from the Sistine Chapel. That meant that with the last election, the Cardinals from all around the world have elected a new pope. Now, this is just the second day of deliberations on a new pope, the second day of voting. This is quite a very quick, I would say, choice, given that in the past we have seen many more elections, much longer voting time. Once again, the world has a new pope. You see people in St. Peter's Square celebrating, Catholics celebrating around the world, no doubt. We had several rounds of black smoke coming from the Sistine Chapel. As of now, we have white smoke. The Cardinals have agreed, at least a majority of Cardinals have agreed, and we will let you know who that pope is just as soon as it is announced. Once again, the wait is over for Catholics worldwide. We have the bell tolling, and the Sistine Chapel is emitting white smoke. Of course, that bears significance because everybody knows that white smoke coming from the Vatican means that a new pope has been elected. It would appear that this time around there wasn't much dissent. We've only had a few rounds of voting, like I say. We've only had a day and a half, basically, it being just after 6 p.m. in Rome. So a day and a half of deliberations, discussions, agreements, conversations between the Cardinals. Just one night, in fact, to think this over, and perhaps a couple of rounds of voting today. And with this round, they have decided, presumably they are happy with their choice. There were several Cardinals in the running for this. Many of them had advantages, be it in terms of age or in terms of leanings, political leanings and otherwise, what they would do with the church going forward. But there is now agreement, and just a few days after Pope Francis's death and burial, there is now a new pope to guide 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide. Once again, we'll bring you more news about this, but this is one of the seminal events for Catholics worldwide. It's only every few years, of course, maybe even longer than that, that a new pope is elected. Just a handful in any particular generation or several generations. And this is an episode that Catholics wait for. They mourn the previous pope and then almost immediately get to wondering who the next pope is going to be. A lot of speculation as to whether this pope would come from a developing nation or whether it might be possibly a European pope. There was the potential for a US pope to be in the mix, but there was also the thinking that perhaps now would not be the right time for a US pope to be elected leader of the Catholic Church. Perhaps other priorities were more important. And of course, it does depend on who, in fact, is doing the voting, what cardinals have the most sway. But the conclave has been meeting for the last 2 days. We have had several rounds of black smoke, and once again, billowing now through the Sistine Chapel chimney after several inconclusive rounds of conclave voting is white smoke, which means we have a 2/3 majority, 89 votes from the 133 cardinals, at least 89 votes. We don't know how many votes were actually for this particular pope, but we know that at least 89 of them elected this particular pope. We will no doubt from the Vatican press office get some more news, but again, 1.4 million faithful around the world now have a new leader. We will be getting the new pontiff overlooking St. Peter's Square pretty shortly. The identity of the new pontiff will be announced when that happens. So we will continue to stay with you to bring you more news from Rome as we await who the pontiff is.